Welcome to our presentation of Hypothesis-Driven Entrepreneurship, the Lean Startup, presented by Mehan and me, Carl Kinnear. This week's reading was about how to deploy a hypothesis-driven approach to your startup in order to deliver a product that customers really want. This is accomplished by iterating on the product with continual customer feedback until you have something that is truly market-ready. The article points out that the startup companies do not have the resources that large corporations have, thus they must manage uncertainty by using experimentation, staging, and shifting risk to partners. When these techniques are combined, you have the focus of the article, the hypothesis-driven approach to entrepreneurship. This approach helps the entrepreneur translate their vision into a series of minimal viable products, or MVPs, by which they can use feedback to test their theory of what will sell well in the market. With the data gathered from the trials, the entrepreneur must then choose to continue with their current business model, pivot by incorporating changes, or perish and end the effort altogether. The latter is typically chosen when the entrepreneur cannot determine a valid pivot to move forward with. No matter how well things are going, one must continue to iterate, and this decision and evaluation is necessary after every iteration. So as we look more closely into the iterating cycle of developing an MVP, first we start with the idea. That idea then needs to be coded or put together. How this gets built is really important to understand. You don't need to build the whole feature set. Every other part of your product can be mocked up. The point isn't to have a fully functioning offer, but simply something that a user can interact with and provide feedback on. The next step is to collect data on what has been built. The article makes it very clear how crucial it is that your tests are falsifiable. The test shouldn't be based on whether or not your product spreads via word of mouth, as that's easy to prove true. Instead, in this example, the test should be quantifiable, like whether or not the viral coefficient exceeds 0.5 over a specific period of time. With this new set of data, the entrepreneur revisits the original idea and either continues to go with the original hypothesis or pivots to make a change in the business plan. In the appendix, the article mentioned pivoting on feature set, customer set, management strategy, the go-to-market plan, and or the profit formula. Now this time, let's go back through the cycle, but this time let's look at how you get better at minimizing the cycle time. As you move from idea to more code, you need to iterate on how you build that code, getting faster every time. As you move from code to gathering your data, learn to measure faster, find better trial users for feedback, and then ask better and better questions of them. Lastly, become more efficient and learn from your successes and failures to speed up the validation of the larger hypothesis. To try to put some of this in more real-world terms, I thought I would share with you what I've learned about a related concept, lean software development. Like the theories discussed in this article, lean software development is about the continual iteration with constant feedback. This would apply to a startup if it were developing software. When we've developed new software, we might start with a basic user interface that may not be completely polished, but it gives the user access to functionality they would expect in the product. However, everything underneath the GUI is fake data and functions, and this can be done with dummy data, simple scripts, etc. That GUI is provided to the user as they provide feedback, the GUI gets updated by the developers until they all feel good about it. Then, the developers start converting dummy sections of the code with real code while the iterations continue with the users. As those iterations continue, the developers keep iterating and improving all the existing real code while slowly replacing dummy code with real code. Another way to think of this is that we start out with breadth and very little depth. As we iterate and get more confident in the vision, you go deeper and deeper in the routine until the full feature set is built out. Another concept that we use quite heavily, which directly relates to the minimal viable product, is the minimal marketable feature set. When, as a product owner, I ask the development team to build something for me, I don't ask for the full product, I ask for chunks. And the ideal way to chunk it is to go as small as you can while ensuring the deliverable itself will add value to the product. This ensures that when a chunk is completed, it can be demonstrated to the user in order to get that crucial feedback and continue the iteration.
You might still feel unclear about lean startup or the hypothesis-driven entrepreneurship process steps. Now I will give you an example. Gold Genome is a newly started company engaged in toys rental business. It has two main features. Its product is high-quality wood toys rental service, and its targeting market is families in Massachusetts. Before its startup, its founders wanted to use the least amount of resources and take the least risks. So here is what they did to test their business model. First of all, they developed a vision. Since high-quality wood toys are expensive and children lose their interest in a single toy fast, a toys rental company can satisfy families' needs about owning new toys with low budgets. Also, because the founders live in Northampton, they plan to start their business there. Then they translated their business vision into two hypotheses, which were most people would rather rent toys instead of purchase them, and the market size is big enough to guarantee a profit. To test the two hypotheses, they specified two minimal viable products, a small test to see people's preference, and a door-to-door sale test in Northampton to see the market size. The nationwide small test went well. A lot of potential customers were interested in renting toys. However, through the door-to-door sales test, they found that the market size in Northampton was not big enough to guarantee a profit. Thus, they decided to test their business in Worcester, which was validated. So this is a hypothesis-driven entrepreneurship for validating a startup's proposed business model.
To help with the online discussion, we wanted to leave you with a few questions. First, have any of you had any prior experience with this process? Second, which aspects of this article made the most sense? Which were more difficult? And lastly, do you see any disadvantages to this approach? If so, can you suggest ways to overcome them? Thank you very much.